Time to break down this Heartbreaker build that I've been running. Now, it stems around running with the blue screen, and if you don't know about the blue screen, you can check out my video describing what blue screen does in detail. But it's these stacks that build up, and if you build up at least 50 stacks, you can pulse, disrupt, and disorientate marked enemies and all the hostiles within 10 meters of those marked targets, meaning shoot the room and anybody else coming in the room as you're melting one particular person. As backup weapon, I have my traditional Rocknroll. Rocknroll is on so many of my builds, and it is great. It's got the damage out of cover on there, so this is just the primo version of it. Of course, both weapons are expertise at 30 level, giving them both that extra 30% weapon damage, which makes them even that much better. So let's check out the build. We're running 4-piece Heartbreaker. So mask, holster, and gloves. I would love to run the backpack, as the backpack would give us 2% instead of 1% on each one of those stacks. But we'll have to build them up a little slower because the memento is just such a great addition to almost any build. And it gives us that extra weapon damage, which is really going to make our secret weapon in this build really shine. And I hope you guys were able to get one, and I hope the rest of you are able to acquire the secret weapon pretty soon. That secret weapon is the Turmoil kneepads. Bewildered. So 50% of the weapon damage that has been dealt to the individual that we're aiming at is dealt to another enemy within 30 meters instead, and that's amplified damage. So it's really melting the room. So I can literally shoot the biggest guy in the room that's out of cover, the big chunga, and his little minions that are hiding behind him are literally dying without ever being hit. And we'll show you some videos on that. If you do not have the Turmoil, this is still a pretty effective build. I like to roll a blue version of Fox's Prayers. And you're thinking, why would I want to go with a all blue build or mostly blue build? Well, it's because our modifiers here, when we go modifiers for season 7, these just are awesome to use. Now, right now we have a global event going on, so you may not want to use this per se. But let's delve into the modifiers to begin with. And what they're doing is, as you build these skill efficiencies, let me see, I got the wrong one on, so let's change that up. So I like using on this one, I like using the stamina, which is going to give us more total weapon armor. It really works really good. You can also go with target rich environment, and that helps you mark up the enemy. The next 15 seconds, all your elimination and assassination will yield twice as much as the amplified score. That's good when you're working on upgrading those events in the manhunt. But I like using this hazard protection. It's really great, and the Hasbro builds just are shining a lot on this, and using the backfire, really good. Multitask, when all 5 attributes are at tier 5, we're getting more weapon damage, because the weapon damage we're getting more on the Turmoil damage, so it really helps. We're getting a little bit more armor. The skills here we don't use much, because our skills we're just using to kind of prompt blue screen on working, or because blue screen will work when it's pulsed. We use our pulse a little bit there. But it's just protection of elites for tier 5 stamina that really shines. And of course the global modifiers are really helping us out. When we're at tier 5, our armor kits are refilled. We get a 3.5% bonus on our stamina, and the bonus armor we get bonus armor for every 300,000 damage we take. So as we're taking damage, we're gaining more bonus armor. Pretty awesome. Critical hit chance is good with the fire, and again, the electronics we're kind of passing on. This is not a skill build. So that's what we're running. You can run any skill you want to in here. I like switching this up. Anything except a shield, because the shield does not activate on that, but you would think the shield would be really great because it's tier 6, because everything's blue. We're automatically at the highest level here, and it is awesome, but it does not activate our blue screen, and that's what we really want to work. And again, the 4 Heartbreaker, whenever it hits a pulsed enemy, it adds a stack bonus, extra bonus armor, and we get weapon damage. So the weapon damage is getting multiplied as we build that stacks up with our turmoil, so it's melting the room even quicker. As for mods, I like running protection from elites for the most part. That one needs to be, need to throw one on there, so there we go. So we have 30%, and then of course remember from our modifiers, when we have the modifiers on, we're getting that protection from elites on top of that. So we're getting another 30% on top of that. 70 or 60, 66% damage to elites. Basically, while we're tanking those big elites, we're saying no, you're not doing any damage to us. And again, some of the skills we want to be able to use a quick deploy, quick skill. So just drop a little bit of healing thing that will activate that blue screen, or we can scan, which will help us prop our Heartbreaker a little bit better. Check in the video for a link to some of the gameplay if you don't want to go a long time and seeing the gameplay, and I'll put a bookmark in here so you can see the breakdown of each item. And again, I like rolling on armor regen here, so even while we're not killing things, we're kind of regenerating our armor as we go. So if we do get in trouble, we get into hiding and we have to kind of hang out for a while, that kind of helps recover without having to spend a lot of energy on those big hills. Now your specialty weapon, I haven't went over that yet, and there's a number of ways to do this. I would recommend the flamethrower. Seems to be the most survival. The minigun is the most offensive of the group, but I tend to melt a little quicker than when I do have the flamethrower on. You can go with the specialist, and you can, the advantage of running the specialist here is you can run the special undercarriage on your Rocknroll. If you look in my old videos, this is a very similar to video without the Turmoil knee pads, to a build that I used to call ELVIS. Before I ran the BLUESCREEN, I ran Kingbreaker, Rocknroll, and with the undercarriage carriage from the technician. And what that does is when you aim at a person, you automatically pulse them with that attachment. So that means you were 100% pulsing anybody you hit. So your stacks were always building up, and you could just go crazy with the rock and roll, build up tons of stacks of stuff, and then go over to the king breaker and still be adding some stacks, but not as quick as you did with the rock and roll. So the rock and roll kind of jump starts that. So if you go into combat at first, you have to be careful to get your stacks up, and then once you get the stacks up, when you have the blue screen, you want to deploy your skill at the right time to kind of put down the enemies. So the enemies start to push you, you're starting to go down, a teammate goes down, another teammate's getting that teammate up. That's a great time to, if you got those 50 stacks, or even if you don't have those 50 stacks, you got a number of stacks built up to kind of make the enemies walk around like, what the heck's going on here. Then you can deploy either one of your skills, which is going to activate that, I call it stupid mode for the NPCs. And again, when you do that, you kind of want to paint some of the room. So because of the turmoil, we're concentrating on the big guy, but because it's making damage to the other ones, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're targeted. So if you got 4 or 5 people in the room, you want to be able to, put a few bullets in each one of those real quick before you hit that button, and ensure that they will go stupid in that stupid mode to help your survivalist to get cover, to hit, to heal up, to recover a teammate, to be recovered yourself. Because not that you can do this when you go down, but if you know you're going to go down and you're real close to dying, you don't have those ability to heal anymore, say you use that up and you got the jammer pulse, hit that jammer pulse, everybody kind of goes stupid, and that gives you a little time to get in a better position. If you do go down, you can get recovered by your teammate, everything else. So the survivability of this versus Striker is amazing. I went through the hardest content with this. Now, it's not something I've ran in the incursion because the incursion is more about team building and everything. I think this could work, but you really want the DPS and you really want a dedicated healer in the incursion. So this would be the only exception, but it would probably still be a fairly decent ploy if you had to. Just the incursion and the raids are a little bit more specialized on your builds, but when it comes to legendary, when it comes to doing everything on heroic, this is the build I use. And as you can see by my watch score, I'm not one of those people that just put a build out there to go, hey, this is the build of the month, or this is the build of the week, or hey, watch my videos so I get paid. This is what I use. This is one of the main ones I use. Now I use other ones to do specific items, melee kills, and my melee monster build, which will be coming out soon, is mainly just to get those hand-to-hand combat kills that you need on global events, or say a summit when it says kill 10 people, kill 5 people that are on fire with a melee kill. Yeah, I got special builds that's just for that task, and once that task is done, it's time to switch to another build. But this is my go-to build. This is the build that I put back in the stash and put it on character 1, 2, 3, or 4. Of course, Strikers really works, but Strikers is more dependent on having somebody around, and if you get pushed with Strikers, you can go down quick. This one has survivability all over it. So it can work in solo, it can work great with a team, it can work with randoms, and of course it still works with your best friends and clan mates and organized play. So I hope you enjoyed the build. Hope you check it out. Hope you build something like it. And if you don't have the Turmoil knee pads, I have a video that breaks that down specifically, what it does, everything about it. And I request that you do some talking to Massive and say, hey, can you get those Teamwork knee pads and the Lexington weapon in the loophole? Those were too good to be left out of the general population, or if you weren't on in late March, April 1st time frame and you missed this, you missed some good stuff. So this is Bear Essential with Bear Buyers. Have a great day. If you need live gameplay of this build, check out down below and check out this link right here for heroic content. Thanks once again for watching. This is Bear Buyers.